Good afternoon. Welcome to a special segment of Money Talks Media on thatchannel.com, brought to you by Northwood Mortgage and Life. And usually John Klotz hosts this show, but today I am, because I have some questions. And we're also sitting down today with Mr. Mike Evans, Senior Vice President of Mackenzie Financial. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Randy.
And welcome, John. Good to see you here.
Thanks for sitting in the chair, Randy. I appreciate it.
Well, you know what? I noticed you have a bit of a calm about you, because the pressure's not on you to host. So it's kind of like you. I know your vibe is really relaxed today. That's really good.
Well, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, no, it's great. It's great to have you guys back.
Thank
I
you.
know you've been in before, but I didn't have the honor of hosting the show. So the reason why we're doing this today is we have some things to talk about, and primarily it's about retirement. And from what I understand, there's people are in a situation that they're not used to. Traditionally, people got jobs, they invested in RSPs, their companies took care of them after it was over, and everybody retired well and lived well. But according to what you gentlemen are telling me, is that this is not the situation that Canadians are going to be facing in the next few years. And correct me at any time, from what I understand, there's 10 million Canadians that are within 15 years of retirement. Is that correct, Mike?
Yeah, it's the baby boom cohort. We've heard a lot about how the baby boom has influenced everything from originally baby food sales, diapers, school enrollment, minivan sales, soon to be retirement homes. They've influenced dramatically every stage of the line. They're about to land in retirement. So the oldest edge of the baby boom next year turns 65. And there's 10 million Canadians that fall into that category. And over the next 20 years, those 10 million Canadians are going to be retiring tens of thousands every month and moving into the process of hopefully enjoying retirement.
Okay, so we've heard that, we hear it in the news all the time that, there's the government is running out of money and the pensions and all this kind of stuff. How serious is this problem?
I mean, from our perspective at Mackenzie Financial, it's a big one. We've been in partnership with people like John for the last 40 years in working collaboratively with advisors to help people create an effective retirement. And I think I and you and John are great examples of people that have diligently contributed to registered plans, to RSPs, put aside money primarily for the reasons of tax deductions, but with really no forethought to what it means and what it's eventually going to do in providing a retirement income. The plain truth of it is the majority of Canadians have done very little. The stats are these, and these are going from memory and might be a tad out of date, but when I last looked, only 38% of Canadians had an RSP, less than 10% maximized their contributions. The majority of people don't work with professionals, don't have a will, don't have insurance, haven't really put pen to paper to determine what their quality and standard of living will be in retirement. And really that's what we want to talk about today.
Well, you know what? I'm going to make this really easy for you, because you made an assumption there that I have to correct you on. I am nowhere near prepared. I do not have a will.
Yeah.
I do not have any retirement savings. I am one of many Canadians who are entrepreneurs, serial entrepreneurs, and I haven't made my fortune yet. And so when I'm talking to the people out there, I am one of you, so they're going to be answering questions from me that are really going to apply to you. So thanks for being here, guys. But I hate to rain on the parade. I am not one of you. I don't have that. I don't have that retirement. So, and I'm not embarrassed to say that, as much as I wish I did have it. But I'm here today because, from what I understand, as we progress through this conversation, I might have to go back to university.
You got it.
You got it.
So, are there a couple other facts that we should mention before we talk about where our possible solution to this could be?
You bring up a good point. And you're an entrepreneur and you're building this company, and it's great. I'm really proud. I've watched that channel evolve, and here, sitting in this whole green screening environment is really neat, and I congratulate you on that. But you're like a lot of Canadians. You have only so many working years to really get this going. And, I know we've talked about this. You don't have kids, but imagine if you had a family and you had to sort of have only so many years to participate in growing your retirement plan, and you had outgoing expenses because you had to pay for things like just living and all that sort of stuff. It's a stress, and we're aware of it. We're very aware of it as financial advisors, that people are under a state of siege, how to get this done. And the resources, if you think about it, and Mike and I have talked about this a lot, are government benefits. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, because there's three sources of income as you retire.
Right.
If I stand corrected, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
You said government, you said your own personal savings, and your
employer-sponsored
plans.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's look at the government benefits. Well, there's really two sources. There's Canada Pension Plan, and there's Old Age Security. And if you look at the amount that you would receive from those, from Old Age Security is about $6,000 a year. Canada Pension Plan is about $12,000 a year, approximately. I'm using approximate numbers. Yeah. That's $18,000 a year. That's poverty. Like, if you are to retire on that, you will be considered poverty, because poverty is around $22,000 a year.
And that's today. That's not necessarily what it's going to be in 10, 15 years.
Exactly. So what do you do with that? Like that's not that those government benefits are going away.
Yeah. But
that's what they are, and that's probably going to be reflective of them going forward. I mean, the numbers may increase by inflation, but that number relative to today's number isn't going to change that much.
Right.
So it's a bit of a retirement crunch.
So here's where we find ourselves. Randy, a lot of people are in your circumstance. You put a lot of heart and soul into your business. Many Canadians find it intimidating to think about retirement planning, to start the process. Never a bad time to make a good decision. So good decision number one is start to ask some questions about the very basic, fundamental building blocks of a retirement income. And we at Mackenzie Financial created a new program called Retirement University, which is designed to engage the public in the process of retirement planning. We work exclusively with qualified investment advisors like John to help put together the building blocks of an effective retirement. And that's exactly what Retirement U does. If you go to MackenzieFinancial.com and look for Retirement University, there's a number of programs there that can help you start the process. But on a base level, it's asking some questions. When do you want to retire? Do you have a desired time frame, an age? Do you want to retire at 55, 60? What lifestyle in retirement do you want to enjoy? What do you want to do, right? If you want to go to the cottage and it's already paid for, you may not need a big percentage of your previous income. So we need to determine that. Looking at sources of income and how well they're funded, right? Base government level funding on your programs. And a lot of people are prone to saying, you know what, I'm not going to rely on that at all. I don't know if that benefit's going to be around or what the nature of that benefit will be. Your pension plans, be they defined benefit, defined contribution, we want to look at what you're entitled to. And then your own personal programs, RSP and investment account investing, to make sure that we can put together an effective retirement. And it means making some choices today and saving and put away money and making some investment decisions that down the road can lead to a healthy income.
So as a Canadian, again, like I said, you hear all these concerns being raised, but yet we kind of have this feeling that we don't need to worry about a thing because the government's always going to take care of us.
Yes, I think that's part of the myth, right? And that's a very interesting statement for you to make as a business owner, because who's looking after you now? Is the government looking after you now? Or are you?
No, not yet. No,
not yet. But I mean,
that's the
right.
question. It's like.
Yeah. As a Canadian, I think you probably won't starve, right? We've got a social safety net that's designed to support us, but you may not thrive either.
Yeah,
I think you really want to set your sights on the standard of retirement quality that you really want to enjoy, and that's going to take some involvement from you.
Right.
And I also think, by the way, and Mike and I have talked about this, I think retirement is one of the most misunderstood concepts out there. I think people don't get it. In fact, if I said to you, Randy, if you had enough money in the bank today, would you like to golf 7 days a week? And that's retirement. To me, that wouldn't be retirement. That's a problem, because that sounds kind of dull. And I no disrespect to any of the golfers out there. I'm just saying, I don't think anyone really understands it. And one of the things about the retirement university that I like is it sort of asks you to flesh out what it kind of looks like. And for you, when you've made your fortune, maybe retirement is an age where you have enough money that you can maybe help other entrepreneurs grow their businesses as a mentor. Maybe instead of working 12 months a year and 70 hours a week, it's 4 or 5 months a year, but it's sort of intense different projects at a more relaxed level, but where money isn't an issue. How does that sound? A little bit more...
that definitely sounds appealing, but I guess the message we're trying to get across here is that, like you said, it's never too late to make a right decision.
You got it.
Right.
And now,
And that day's today, right? For whoever, wherever, whenever, if you're watching this, maybe a great time to ask that question: how well prepared am I for that journey into retirement?
Right.
And maybe I need to ask some questions about retirement income, work with a professional, start to take some steps towards creating the type of retirement quality of life that you want to enjoy.
well, because the paradigm has shifted, right? I mean, from what I understand, people are retiring younger,
Yep.
Yep.
which seems a little odd considering the quagmire that we're coming into. Why are people retiring earlier? Maybe they're being forced. I don't know, but we're living longer,
Yep.
so I'm assuming then that these plans were designed for a lifestyle 50 years ago, when
Good
people
point.
didn't live as long and retired at 65. Am I correct? So is
Yeah.
the model, from what I understand, the model is just old.
It's wonky.
It
It's old.
needs to be redefined.
Yeah, there's some key problems demographically. Some are good problems, like
Yeah.
you mentioned. People are living longer, managing to retire earlier. A lot of pensions are underfunded by governments. So the disappointing returns that we've seen in the market have led to disappointing returns in pension plans, which have then put the onus back on the taxpayer to fund. You've seen movements around the world to increase the retirement age, which is one key consideration. So ensuring that people live longer, increasing the amount that people are forced to put into plans. So in essence, taxing you more today to fund more money into retirement plans, and then decreasing benefits. So any and all of these things can occur. And as we saw in Wisconsin in the U.S., a lot of these decisions are made retroactively. You may have worked as a firefighter or a teacher or a government worker for 25 or 30 years only to find that the governor has come in and renegotiated the terms and conditions of your retirement, and suddenly you're not entitled to the benefit that you think you were, or that your company has gone out of business and as a part of the restructuring have dramatically reduced or in some cases completely eliminated your retirement benefit.
Right.
So there's a lot that is changing.
Okay, so let's put this in the most simple language possible for guys like myself and other people like myself out there. What percentage of our we're not going to have enough money to retire, basically, is what you guys are saying.
You don't have to say that. If you don't plan,
Yeah.
that will be the case. But if you do plan and you put together some goalposts and some planning and use the right type of investment strategies, yes, you can do it. Especially
Right.
you're a young guy, and retirement is still out there. You've got time on your
And
side.
the plan for an entrepreneur like you, Randy, would be to create a successful business, have that business generate profits while you own it, and then eventually sell that business and fund your post-working years in
Right.
In retirement. That's the method of many Canadians,
Yeah.
business owners. That's the reason why you would want to start a business and why you'd want to eventually sell one.
Sure. Canada's full of entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Okay, and it seems to be more and more people going towards that, whether by choice or by, but because they have to make that decision because companies are downsizing, companies are whatever. Again, bringing it back to the government states, or we hear it all the time, there's not enough money in the coffers to manage this. Is it that serious? Like I might be repeating myself here, but I just want to drive this home. Is it that serious? Like, again, you're saying most people are going to live in poverty. Is that of the 10 million
Well, no,
people? Of the 10 million people, a large percentage of them are going to be living in poverty if they're not really doing anything to take care of this.
Let me correct you there. Canada is a wonderful place to live,
Okay.
and we do have a wonderful economic system. And in truth, our seniors have a lower poverty rate than many places around the world. I can think of the comparisons against the U.S. In Canada, seniors have an 8% poverty rate. I believe
Right.
is the latest statistic. In the U.S., it's something like 23% of U.S. seniors are living in poverty. So we do have a lot of things going for us here.
Yeah.
What do we do? I think is the key message. And John and other financial professionals really are the key to what we believe is part of the process
Right.
of making some good, sound decisions early enough to have an influence on your outcome. And you're right. The major problem with pensions, whether they're government schemes or employer-based schemes or even personal schemes, is under contribution. There's not enough money in them yet to determine their their sources of revenue in retirement. So we need to get as much money as we can in there as early as possible, manage it effectively, and create that nest egg that we can live on for the remainder of your lives, which in many cases is longer than people worked.
Okay.
And I was just going to say, with what Mike's saying, the earlier you get involved with this, obviously the better it is. So, we have a slide and actually showing, the difference between a 25-year-old starting with a fixed amount of money, and a 35-year-old, a 45-year-old, and a 55-year-old. And it's true, the later you start, the steeper the pitch. It's not that it's impossible.
Yeah.
But just it becomes more of a grind. So, if anyone is listening to this show, as Mike says, the best time to start a plan is now.
Okay.
Go on, carry on.
Yeah, no, okay. So that's great then. Okay, so I'm not going to whine anymore. I'm going to say,
I'm
going to say, let's talk solution.
Did you
let's
hear
talk,
whine?
No.
Let's talk solution. Let's talk
screech.
solution. This university.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Lay it out for me. What is it?
So Retirement University is a program. Mackenzie Financial is an organization dedicated to education.
So I'm Rodney Dangerfield, and I'm going back to school.
You
got
it. And so part of our process historically has been to work with people like John, independent financial advisors, in order to create financial wealth and well-being for investors. We've had a program called Mackenzie University for 15 years, where we bring in renowned speakers on all subjects, economics, politics, from around the world, and educate John. John's been to it many times. Retirement University is the segue into that discussion about retirement planning, encouraging Canadians to engage in the process of asking the fundamental questions of when do we want to retire, what standard of living do we want to enjoy, where are our income sources going to come from, what are the key issues that could derail that retirement and cause us problems, and how can we influence today through some planning and some action those retirement outcomes.
Right. So I'm assuming that would be different for somebody who's 40 or somebody who's 50 or somebody who's
sure would.
60. So
yeah.
I'm sure that there's these allowances.
Right. We broke it into 3 different components. So on the website at mackenziefinancial.com, under the Retirement University section, there's Retirement U 101, which is for the accumulator. Those people with, say, 15 years to retirement. So you're still in accumulation mode. You're still have time to acquire assets and make investments and decisions that will influence your outcome. Retirement U 201 is people within 5 years of retirement that are approaching retirement much closer. They need to make a different set of decisions and have a number of other issues that they're dealing with. And then Retirement U 301 is people in retirement. And in all 3 categories, we have workbooks, we have financial calculators, we have illustrators, and ways to analyze your current circumstance to influence what your outcomes in the future could and will be.
Okay, so the bottom line is this is the solution, or a possible solution, or a solution. This is a solution to making me feel better as I get older,
right.
And people like myself out there who haven't struck it rich yet, who haven't sold their business, or who have been maybe going through a life transition, and might not be as prepared as they'd like to be.
Step 1 for you, Randy, and others like you, is to engage with a professional like John.
Right.
To begin to go through some of the worksheets and materials on the Retirement U 101 website, and to answer some of those questions. And I think you'll find that, as I mentioned before, never a bad time to make a good decision. You still have plenty of time to influence your outcome in retirement. And we want to begin to take those steps now. Get the will, get the insurance, create a successful business, make some contributions into the right types of plans, and set some goals as to when you want to do these.
So why don't we take a quick break, and we'll come back and we'll talk more about that. So I'd like to maybe allow myself to be a bit of a guinea pig, and we can go through some of these things. Retirement University 101 for Randy Thomas here. Special guest host of Money Talks Media with John Klotz and Mike Evans from Mackenzie Financial, and John Klotz, president of Northwood Mortgage Life. We'll be right back on thatchannel.com's Money Talk Media.